What's up, guys? It's Bobby Buckets, and I'm here for my first EA Sports College Football 25 video. In this video, I'll be giving you guys my top 5 Dynasty rebuild teams with the storylines to go with them as well. I'll have some, honorable mentions to add that kind of have the same type of storylines and kind of my ideas. So hopefully this video gives you guys some ideas for your Dynasty. But make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, as I will be I've been waiting 10 years, 11 years, whatever it is for this game to come out. So I will be dropping Dynasty videos, online Dynasty, Road to Glory, informative videos, all that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. So yeah, I've been watching a lot of these Dynasty videos on, what's the best rebuild and stuff. And I kind of came up with a lot of ideas from watching them. So the first one, and this is probably going to be my first team that I rebuild, and it's pretty simple. I'm doing my favorite team, the West Virginia Mountaineers. I know it's kind of the easy cop-out. Your first one, though, everyone's been waiting 10 to 11 years for this game. You got to go with your favorite team, unless, you're an Alabama fan, Ohio State. Maybe you try to switch it up because there's no point of doing a rebuild with that. But for me, I'm a West Virginia fan, and I'm going to be honest. The reason why I even like college football is because of back when Pat White, Steve Slayton, they were, good on the video game back then, and also just fun to watch. So I became a West Virginia Mountaineers fan. I'm from California. That's why there's no correlation besides them two. And then obviously through the years, you had Tavon Austin and Geno Smith. So the first rebuild is going to be West Virginia. I think it's going to be a fun rebuild. Obviously they're in the Big 12. They're probably going to be, middle of the pack. So it should be a good starting point. You have fun players to play with, like C.J. Donaldson, which is, a big running back, was a tight end. Garrett Green, the quarterback, is a senior, so you kind of, you got to recruit and go from there. But he should be fun to play with. He can scramble a little bit. So the team should just be fun, be able to compete, and it's kind of a mid-tier big conference. The fun part, too, about West Virginia, even though it's my favorite team, but for a rebuild, is they're a fun team because simply, you're not really just going to have a pipeline of recruits in West Virginia. So do you go in the transfer portal? What's going to be your pipeline state? Where do you go recruit? So it should be fun. That's going to be my first one. I think most people should probably do their favorite team for their first rebuild. Now, the next team I have is Sam Houston. And kind of what this is, they're new to the FBS division. And they're in Texas. So you have a pipeline state that's good, but you're a small school new. So I think it's fun to do a rebuild of a new team. Starting from the bottom, you got to work your way up, and you have a good state to recruit. But are you going to be able to recruit against the UT, the Baylors, all the bigger schools in Texas? And kind of with that, kind of with that storyline, the honorable mention for me is Kennesaw State. I just think Sam Houston to me will be more fun, but Kennesaw State is also one of those teams that just joined the FBS division. So you're pretty much starting from the bottom. They're probably going to be considered the worst team. But I think just the Texas aspect of it makes me more interested to do Sam Houston over Kennesaw State. The next team is going to be Washington State. And pretty much the reason why, it's probably, I haven't really seen too many people put this on there, but I think the idea of them and Oregon State being the only Pac-12 or 2, whatever you want to call it, team, it kind of makes it fun for a rebuild. For me, I'm looking at it like, you do the first year with the 2 teams only being in the conference, but you play the Mountain West schedule. And then I feel like you can go so many different routes from there. If you dominate the Mountain West, maybe you add them to the Big 12 along with Oregon State, which I'll put Oregon State as an honorable mention. But I said Washington State just because Oregon State's been better, so I took the worst out of the 2. But the storyline kind of, what conference do you join? Do you just join the Mountain West full time? Do you rebuild the Pac-12 and take teams from the Mountain West and maybe other conferences? Do you just go join the Big 12? I think you could kind of go different routes with doing like a Washington State or Oregon State, just with the conference, realignment. I think that should make it fun. You're up in Washington or Oregon if you go Oregon State, where it's not like a huge pipeline place, but you go to California and stuff like that. So I think that would be a really fun one, just with the realignments to kind of, what route do you go? The next one is going to be Kent State. And the reason why Kent State is just simply because they were the worst team in college football last year. So I think it'd be fun to start from the bottom and be like, I'm taking over the worst team. Kennesaw State might be ranked lower since they're transitioning, but Kent State is also known to be the worst college football team ever. I think it's according to like CBS. I was just looking at the worst team in history of college football, and Kent State popped up. So that'll be a fun one. You're pretty much saying, let's change this program, start from the bottom. You can go the whole coordinator route or not. And kind of, honorable mention for the same type of storyline is Indiana. You're pretty much taking the worst Power 4 or 5, team, and they're playing in the Big Ten, so you got to compete with other Big Ten schools as being the worst. Fun fact, which I thought was crazy, I had to look it up. Indiana has never won more than 9 games, so they never got double-digit wins, never won 10 games ever, and they've been around for I think over 100 years. So I thought that would be crazy to take over a team that has never won at all and had no success, and they're a bigger school. I think sometimes it can be more fun to, instead of taking the bottom school in a bad conference where you can kind of rebuild pretty quickly because the teams are so bad, you go to a Power 4 or 5 conference, and you got to go against the Michigans and Ohio States and work your way up. I think that should be a lot of fun. And then the last one for my top 5 is going to be Cal. And pretty much the reason for Cal is them joining a new conference, I think, is interesting. The ACC conference is, mostly teams on, east side. So, it's kind of going to be interesting to see how the travel going to work, which I'll put an honorable mention for Stanford. But I went Cal because they haven't been as good as Stanford. Maybe more recently, Cal's been a little better, but they've both been bad. But Stanford had, a little bit more success about, 5 years ago, and they had a little stretch of a run. So Cal's kind of been irrelevant. And obviously you have the California pipeline. I'll probably add like Notre Dame to the conference and make the ACC a little bit better, even though they still got Clemson and Florida State. But it'll be fun to be the West Coast team. Obviously you have Stanford there too, but in the ACC, how's that going to work? The travel, the recruiting, you can kind of bring a West Coast style to the ACC with all those other teams. So Stanford or Cal, that's kind of my other one. Now, if you made it this far, because I got some other cool ideas to add that I kind of like for this as well. But one of the other ones I want to do is kind of like a whatever team I pick for Road to Glory, go through my Road to Glory career, and then whatever team that was, which is kind of just another storyline idea, is, you go back to that school as an offensive coordinator and probably hopefully be a small school, maybe start as an underdog at 60 overall. You're not that much of a, great player, so maybe you don't even do the NFL route, but you go back as an offensive coordinator and just go through the coaching career, work your way all the way up, whether you leave the school or not. That's kind of my other idea, but I don't have a team for what I'm doing my Road to Glory yet. So that's kind of another idea, along with another one I like too is kind of Nevada and New Mexico. I'll just add those to honorable mentions. And kind of with those, I like the idea of kind of along with the Washington State of like, obviously they're in the Mountain West, but in that type of scenario, you could be, Nevada or New Mexico and be like, oh, we're going to build up the Pac-12 and realign, or you just add Washington State and them to the Mountain West, which Nevada has been terrible recently, and you have a rivalry with UNLV. You don't have a real pipeline state that's for Nevada. You're close to, that's not a big football pipeline, but you're close to California. You can kind of make it to Texas. So I think Nevada would be a fun one, or New Mexico, just kind of along with the conference realignment, and kind of building up. And how does that look with the Pac-12 being gone? I think there's so many different cool scenarios to realign conferences and stuff. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope that it was helpful and give you some ideas. Like I said, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be having so much EA Sports, college football 25 videos and content out there. Let me know in the comments of any ideas that you have or what you liked about my ideas, and let me know also what teams you think I should do first. I think, like I said, or not first, but after my first one, West Virginia. I'm gonna do multiple, obviously. But that's gonna be it for this video, and I hope to see y'all in the next one.